Welcome back to part 2 of episode 17, Shadows of Primus. If you did miss the last video, please go back and watch that before continuing. As the ash gate begins to open, clouds and dust storms begin to appear on the board, and we are going to pick up at the end of turn 3. And Captain Solidus will need to take a strength check as he is too close to the ash gate. He will fail, and he will run d6 inches away from the ash gate and then take an initiative check, or he will become pinned. So he will move 4 inches, take an initiative check, which is a 4+. That is passed. He avoids becoming pinned. Hazard is also 12 inches away from the ash gate. He will take a strength check and passes. We also owed a rally test for Wax. On a 7-up, he will recover. He stays broken. And gearing up for turn 4, priority rolls coming out now. And the Enforcers are going to roll up a 6. House Delaque also rolls up a 6, so they are going to roll off against each other. We know that the Renegades will go last. And it looks like the Enforcers will take this one with a 5. A cool check from nearby Mr. Black. He needs a 6-up, and he is good. The Juve Midnight has made his way across the board. He is outside of 12 inches, so he will take a cool check, and he's good on a 7. And leading off for the Enforcer's Pump is going to round the building, and he is going to aim that shotgun down at Hazard, trying to pin him to prevent that heavy bolter from going off again. And he's firing this in his template mode, which is scatter shot. It will get d6 hits. And it is an auto hit and an auto pin because it's a template weapon, but there will only be 1 hit at strength 2. Hazard has a toughness of 4, so it will require 6s in order to wound, and he does get a wound. Mesh Armor looking for a 5-up save will fail, the wound will stick. We've then got Midnight, who activates for House Delaque using both of his actions to move, getting behind cover. And then over for the Renegades, Kickstart is going to pop down the terrain with that jetpack. He's going to move forward slightly and unleash that hand flamer, this time targeting Captain Solidus and just catching him in range due to that ash cloud movement. That is going to automatically hit him, and it is strength 3, toughness 3, wounds on a 4, ammo check is good, and that is going to set him on fire on a 4+. So he goes down pinned, and the armor save is going to fail. He will take 1 wound and be subject to the blaze trait when he activates. And then over to the Enforcers, Big Chungus is going to attempt to break away from Argo here, and he will successfully do that on a 4+. And then d6 inches, giving him his full movement value, will be 5 inches that he can move, so he is just going to break off. He's then going to point that stub gun at Kickstart. He's going to get a +2 modifier to hit. Normally hitting on a 5, he goes down to a 3. He fires that weapon, and that is going to hit. Kickstart is going to go down pinned, and it will need 4s to wound. That is not going to wound. Mr. Black is then going to use both of his actions to move over the catwalk. And then we've got Breaker. He is going to shift up slightly just to bring Big Chungus into a clear line of sight. And he is going to be taking a shot here, hitting on 4s. So a shot from the auto gun. It is rapid fire. That is going to be 2 hits. And it will be strength 3, toughness 3, so these will require 4s in order to wound. That is going to be 1 wound. Big Chungus goes down pinned. He will take an armor save here, requiring a 5-up with that flak armor and armored undersuit. That is going to fail. Injury dice rolled out. It will be a flesh wound, taking him down to 2 toughness. We've then got P-Wagon. He is going to move with both of his actions, trying to get over to support his fellow Enforcers. And over to House Delaque, we've got Severus, who is going to move up to the door, and he is going to use an action to open it. Back over to House Orlock, we've got Argo. He's going to attempt to break chains again, and that is going to fail, needing to roll below his strength on 2d6. And Rampage, it looks like he's going to attempt to break away from Argo. He's going to fail that initiative check. Argo is going to take an initiative check of his own to make reaction attacks. That passes on a 4+. He is -2 to his weapon skill because he is shackled. So he is going to go to 5s in order to hit. He is going to get 1 hit with that Arc Hammer. While that Arc Hammer will do a wound, it will easily be saved. We flip back over to House Delaque, and it looks like Snake Eyes is going to pull up behind Severus. And now we have Gray, who's going to get to his feet for House Orlock. And he is going to attempt to fire down at P-Wagon. Can see him. He is in full cover, however. Normally hits on a 4. That full cover goes to a 6. So shot roars out, and that is going to miss rapid fire with that auto gun. The Enforcers have to activate Captain Solidus next. He gets to his feet, but immediately takes a Strength 3 hit due to the Blaze trade, and it is AP -1 and 1 damage. At his Strength 3, it's going to wound on a 4, which it does. He will get an armor save here with his flak armor armored undersuit. It is a 6 due to the AP -1. That is failed. So he is going to take another wound, and that is going to require an injury die to be rolled out, and it is an out of action. Captain Solidus goes down to the hand flamer. D66 roll is a 16, so that will be out cold. Blackjack is just going to pass as he is seriously injured for House Orlock, and this forces the Enforcers to activate another fighter with the Blaze trait. This is Cue Ball, getting to his feet and subject to that Strength 3 AP -1, 1 damage hit, and that is easily going to wound on that 4. Only needed 3s to wound as he is Toughness 2. And his AP -1, he is wearing layered flak and an armored undersuit, but AP -1 that fails, and an injury dice comes out, and it is an out of action as well. 2 Enforcers going up in flames. A D66 rolled out for Cue Ball, and it will be a 31, which is grievous. The last 2 moves belong to House Orlock. We will just get a pass from Richter, and then Hazard is going to use an action to get to his feet and just hold firm, hoping to win initiative with that heavy bolter. And that brings us to the end of turn 4, and a massive swing in the momentum as the Enforcers seem to have everything going their way. They have had 2 fighters that were set on fire from Kickstart's hand flamer, and they ended up as casualties during this battle. Things have kind of leveled back out again, and all of these gangs are still on even footing. We are going to roll for a recovery here, getting an assist from Richter, and it looks like he is going to roll back over with a flesh wound. This is Blackjack. Lots of flesh wounds out on the board. Bottle check rolls out for the Enforcers, and on that 5 they are still okay, as they started out with 9 fighters at the start of this battle. We do see a rally test from Wax needing a 7 that fails, and he remains broken. And then we've got ash clouds that are going to impact, and this is a strength check from Hazard, which is good, and another one from P-Wagon, which is good as well. Ash clouds beginning to affect visibility. It now shrinks to 18 inches, and we begin staging for turn 5. The Enforcers are going to roll out a 3, and they will tie with House Delaque. We do know that House Orlock will be going last in turn 5. House Delaque and the Enforcers rolling back off against each other, and it looks like it's going to be Delaque, Enforcers, and Orlock for turn 5. We do need to take some cool checks here. Mr. Black is going to start off needing a 6 or better. He is going to pass and spread that around 2 nearby fighters. The Juve Midnight is going to take one as well, and he is also good. Mr. Black gets down on one knee and fires at Wax on top of the building there. And he's got that plasma gun wound up just in low setting mode. Needs a 4. He does aim first, but it is in full cover. Shot misses. An ammo check is required and failed. And with ammo being scarce, he's in trouble as that weapon can't be reloaded. P-Wagon activates for the Enforcers and charges into Hazard. That is a charge that he cannot fail. Just trying to lock him up, as that heavy bolter would easily be able to take down another Enforcer fighter. And he will get 3 swings here, 1 base, 1 for the charge, 1 for 2 melee weapons. The stub gun is going to hit, and it will not wound. Hazard will make reaction attacks with his weapon skill of 3. He gets 2 base attacks. He is unarmed. Both of those are going to hit, and then needs 4s to wound. No wounds. Kickstart then pops to his feet, and he lays out that hand flamer one more time. This time he's got Big Chungus in his sights. And this is going to be an auto hit. Big Chungus is already pinned, but on a 4-up, you would be subject to the Blaze trait. That is going to do a wound on this 6. We do roll for Blaze here, needing a 4+, and that is going to fail. So lucky for Big Chungus on that one, he is just wounded. He takes an armor save, and that is passed, getting a +1 against template weapons. The Juve Midnight then moves up to the door and uses his second action to open it. And as that door opens, he is able to see Rampage right through the other side. Back over to the Enforcers, we've got Pump, who is going to round the corner, getting behind a little bit of cover here, and he is going to unload that shotgun into Kickstart, and he is going to fire this thing in solid mode. With short range, he will get a +1 modifier, so it will connect on a 3-up. And that is going to hit. This weapon is strength 4, rapid fire with knockback, so it will require 3s to wound. 2 of those are going to go through. We're going to see some arbor saves taken here, but both of these are going to be failed, and he is going to have 4 total injury dice rolled out against him, as the weapon is 2 damage each. And that's going to be a serious injury and 2 flesh wounds. Seeing Kickstart goes down, Richter is going to round the corner with an action and point that auto gun at Pump. Pump is going to get light cover from this, so he normally hits on 4. That cover is going to take this to a 5. And a shot coming from that auto gun, rapid fire, that is going to miss. Next up, Snake Eyes is going to use his first action to move, and he is going to launch a photon flash grenade, looking to do something to Rampage and Argo. And he throws this strength ×3, so up to 9 inches. It is a 5-inch blast, but that shot is going to miss, as he needed 3s, which is his weapon skill. And we're going to roll a d6 and a scatter, and it looks like that is going to go right back at him, but it is not going to hit him. It will actually not hit anyone. We then roll the firepower dice for an ammo check, and he is going to be out of those grenades. The Enforcers will activate next, and Big Chungus will get to his feet. He is going to fire at Richter, but is going to miss. He needed a 3 or better at short range. We've then got Breaker, who is going to move across the rooftop. He is going to catch Midnight here in the open, and he's going to fire his auto gun down at him, needing 3s due to short range. And the shot is going to connect. Midnight will go down pinned. And strength 3, toughness 3, 4 is needed to wound. That is going to be 2 wounds. So he is wearing flak armor. He will get 6-up saves here. And he is going to block one of these, but he is going to take a wound. So an injury die is going to be rolled out for Midnight, and that is an out of action. So some additional damage being done to House Orlock here. A D66 rolled out. It is a 52. And that's an eye injury. We've got Severus moving in now for House Delaque, and he is just going to use both of his actions to move, looking to close the gap with that shotgun. And now back to the Enforcers. Rampage is going to attempt to break away from Argo again, needing a 4+. And the 6 will get it done. He'll successfully navigate his way away from Argo, and he can move 4 inches. He is just going to turn around facing Severus. Argo's going to attempt to get reaction attacks but fails. And Rampage is going to pull out a stub gun, and he's going to take a shot at Severus, who is trying to come up behind him. And he is going to hit on anything but, due to that +2 modifier. The weapon is not out of ammo, but it will hit Severus and pin him. We'll need 4s to wound at strength 3, toughness 3, which is successful. And then there will be a save taken here. He does wear mesh armor, and that is going to be good. He'll go down pinned. Blackjack is then going to stand and use his second action to move. And then we've got Wax up here, who is just broken and trying to stay in cover. Gray is going to move forward with an action and use his second action to fire at Big Chungus. Staring him down here, he's got a 4. He's going to be modified to short range of a 3. And that is going to hit twice with his auto gun. Rapid fire, strength 3, toughness 2 now on Big Chungus, as he did take a flesh wound. And both of those are going to fail. Argo activates next, attempts to break the manacles one more time, again fails, and he just stays locked in place. Hazard then activates, and he is going to attempt to break away from P-Wagon. Needs a 4-up. He actually fails this, So we roll up 4 reaction attacks on a 4+, an initiative check from P-Wagon, which is good. So he is going to make reaction attacks here against Hazard as he attempts to break away. And that's 2 shots coming across. Both of these hit, needing 4s. And at strength 3, toughness 4, it will need 5s to wound. And on that 6, the Vigilance Assault Shield will cause a wound. He's going to take a 5-up save with his mesh armor, and that is successful. And that brings us to the end of turn 5. Things are really starting to get hot. We did see one of the Delaque members go out. Several members of the Enforcer squad have now burned up, but they are still good on their bottle checks thus far. Argo continues to be locked up and unable to do much on the battlefield. We do owe a few checks here in the end phase. Bottle test for the Enforcers is going to be just fine. And then we are going to start to roll up for recovery rolls for Kickstart first, and he is getting an assist from Richter. Looks like he is staying down with a serious injury. A recovery roll for Wax will be taken, needing a 7. He is going to stay broken. And then we're going right into turn 6 with priority rolls coming across. House Orlock up first, followed by the Enforcers and House Delaque. Cool checks being taken by House Delaque. Mr. Black up first. He is easily going to pass. He's going to spread that love around. And then we do have the Ash Clouds. Visibility is getting reduced to 12 inches now. And first up for the Enforcers, strength check is passed. It is also passed for Hazard. So they are good on their strength checks, unaffected this round. House Orlock activates first, and Richter is going to charge into Pump. And he's got that fighting knife, can potentially do some damage with it as it is AP -1. He does carry a stub gun as well, so getting 2 attacks and 1 for the charge, and he is going to hit on 4s. And it looks like 2 of those are going to go through. The stub gun is going to miss. That fighting knife hits twice, and strength 3, toughness 3, it will need 4s to wound. That is going to be 2 wounds, and at AP -1, it's going to require a 6-up save. So Pump being reduced to a 6+ on his save. That is going to 1 good, 1 not good. So an injury die rolled out here, and lucky for him, it is a flesh wound. He does get to make reaction attacks and fires out his stub gun. That shot, however, is going to miss, needing a 4. Ammo check required, and it is going to be out of ammo. We got the Vanguard Enforcers activating next, and Rampage is going to declare a charge into Severus. Severus is going to stand to meet him. And Rampage, wielding that shock baton and his Vigilance Assault Shield, he's going to get 3 total attacks, 2 for 2 melee weapons plus 1 for the charge. And he hits on 4s, and that is going to be 2 that go through, and that baton will cause a shock. That is an auto wound. The Assault Shield is also going to wound on that 6, just needed a 4 there. And saves are taken, they will be failed. So injury dice will be rolled out here for Severus. He goes down with a serious injury, and he will get the coup de grace from Rampage. Rolling up on a D66, it is going to be a 52, which is an eye injury. And with that taking place, Snake Eyes is going to eye down Rampage. He does have an auto gun, increased his ballistic skill to 3 through an advancement. So he's going to fire anything but 1 is going to connect here, and he will get a hit. Rampage goes down pinned. There will be no wound, however. Gray then uses an action to move forward, and he is going to attempt to shoot at Big Chungus down on the ground, has him in the open, normally hitting on a 4, short range makes this a 3 with his auto gun. And shots coming out now, rapid fire. And that'll be 2 hits and 1 wound, just needing 3s there as he is toughness 2 with that flush wound. So armor save will be taken here, and it will be failed. He needed a 5-up, an injury die comes out, it is another flesh wound that puts him on 2. He then gets to his feet, and Big Chungus is going to take a shot back with his stub gun. It is within 6 inches, so it will hit on 3s. And he is going to connect, and that is strength 3 against toughness 2, as he does have a flesh wound on him as well, so 3s needed to wound. That is not going to cause a wound, but Gray will go down pinned. Mr. Black is out of ammo, so he is going to attempt to reload. That weapon is scarce, however, so it can't be reloaded. He is just going to use his second action to move, as he only can make unarmed attacks from this point on. Back over to House Orlock, we do have Argo, who attempts to break those bonds again, and he fails. And then we move back to the Enforcers, where P-Wagon is going to hit Hazard, and he's going to get 2 total attacks, 1 for having 2 melee weapons and just 1 base. And he's going to be hitting on 4s with that Vigilance Assault Shield and his stub gun, and both of those are going to miss. Reaction attacks will come back across, just 1, unarmed, and that is going to hit. He's toughness 2, so just needs 3s to wound. That is a wound. Save coming across, though, with that Vigilance Assault Shield is going to be just fine. Hazard's second action will be to break away, and he takes an initiative check and fails. So it looks like P-Wagon will roll for initiative to see if he can make reaction attacks that will be passed on a 4+. So he is going to attempt to hit him again, as he did fail to retreat. And hitting on 4s, both of those are going to hit, 1 from the Assault Shield and 1 from the Stub Gun. And at toughness 4, it requires 5s to wound. It's not happening. Breaker activates next for House Orlock, moves back along the roof, and he does see Big Chungus with his 2 flesh wounds. He is out in the open, so he's going to unload with that auto gun. He is outside of 8 inches, so not getting that +1 short range modifier. He will need 4s in order to hit. And that shot is going to hit. Big Chungus does go down wounded, and it will just be 2s here, as he is toughness 1. And it fails. He rolls a 1. Big Chungus just goes down pinned. Pump is going to attempt to retreat from Richter. Doesn't trust being in combat with that fighting knife, and he fails his initiative check. An initiative check will be taken from Richter on a 4+ to see if he can make reaction attacks, and he is going to fail that as well. The following combat resulted in nothing, and we move back over to House Orlock, where Blackjack announces a charge into the side of P-Wagon here. And he is going to attack. He has 1 base +1 for the charge, and he will hit on 3s with the assistance from Hazard. And it looks like one of those is going to go through. Strength 3 against toughness 2. We'll need 3s to wound, and there is no wound. Reaction attacks will come back across, as P-Wagon does turn to get both of these guys in his arc. This will put him at a -1 to his weapon skill, so he will now be hitting on 5s. 1 base and 1 for 2 melee weapons will be coming across, needing 5s in order to hit. And one of these will go through with that Vigilance Assault Shield. And he is a toughness 2 with that flesh wound, so 3s will be needed to wound. There will be a wound, and armor save will be taken. Blackjack has flak armor, so it is a 6+ save that is going to be failed. So an injury die will come out here, and it will be another flesh wound on Blackjack. He goes to 2. And that brings us to the end of turn 6. So both of these gangs really fighting for the center. House Delaque slowly creeping across. They're probably in the worst shape at this point. The Enforcers are holding firm. Lots of fighters down for both sides. We do have a bottle check coming out for the Enforcers. That is going to be good. And then we are going to roll recovery rolls for Kickstart. And it looks like he is going to stay down with a serious injury. We're going to roll to see if Wax can recover, and he fails once again, needing a 7. Priority rolls come out for the next turn. House Delaque up first, followed by Orlock and the Enforcers. Mr. Black is going to take a cool check up top, and he is going to fail. Finally, on this 5, he is going to scoot off the board, and Snake Eyes is looking to stick around. And during this turn, we are going to take some strength checks here for the 3 fighters that are within line of sight and 12 inches of the ash gate. So far, so good. They all pass. Visibility has been reduced to 3 inches. And Snake Eyes is going to move forward with his first action. His second is going to be to fire, and he's going to be targeting Rampage on the ground right here, so that is the closest fighter. He has a ballistic skill of 3, short range. That is going to connect, and he has an auto gun, so that is rapid fire 2. And that is going to result in 2 wounds. So armor saves being taken here, and both of those are going to fail. And Rampage is reduced to 0 wounds. An injury die will be rolled out for him, and it is an out of action Rampage taken off the board by Snake Eyes. A D66 is rolled out, and it is a 46, which is grievous. Blackjack then charges into P-Wagon, where he was knocked back from the last fight, and he is going to get A shot with that stub gun, that is going to result in a hit. Only 3s needed to wound, and that is no good. So reaction attacks will come back across. He will be hitting on a weapon skill of 5, however, due to the interference there with Hazard. And he's going to sink 2 hits from that assault shield and his stub gun. So he's on 2 flesh wounds, means he has a toughness of 1. So anything but 1s to wound, and that is going to get the job done. 2 wounds. Blackjack has mesh armor, so needing 5s ups to save, and both of those are going to fail. So there's going to be 2 injury dice that are rolled out for him. He goes down with a serious injury. The Enforcers get their first activation of the turn. Big Chungus gets to his feet, and he's going to fire that stub gun at Richter, who is tied up with Pump right now. Normally hitting on a 5, short range takes it to a 3, but he is tied up in combat, so it will be a 4 to hit. And that shot is going to miss. An ammo check will be required, needing a 4 up, and that is going to be good. We move back over to House Orlock, where Gray is going to move just enough to get a little bit of Big Chungus right here, and he's going to take a shot with that auto gun. In short range, he needs a 3, but that shot is going to miss. We've then got P-Wagon that activates, and he is going to attempt to fight Hazard with that assault shield as well as his stub gun. He is no longer facing an interference, and he is going to land a hit with the assault shield, needing 4s. And this is strength 3 versus toughness 4. He does knock Hazard back and decides to follow up to be sure he keeps that heavy bolter locked up. And he will need 5s in order to wound. There will be no wound. Richter then activates for House Orlock, decides to fight against Pump, and he misses with the stub gun, but he does also have a fighting knife, so he is going to land 1 hit, needing 4s. And it will be 3s to wound, as he does have a flesh wound on him. That is going to be a wound. Pump will take a 5 up save with the fighting knife's AP -1, requiring a 6, and that is good. Reaction attacks come back across, and that is going to be a hit against Richter, needing a 4, and it will require 4s to wound. We'll do a wound. Richter's going to take a mesh armor save, which is 5 up. He is going to fail, so an injury dice here coming out for Richter, and he goes down with a serious injury, but unable to get the coup de grace as that was on reaction attacks. A cool test will be taken by nearby Gray, and he is good. The Enforcers do have the following turn. Pump activates, giving Richter the coup de grace, and then he is going to unleash that shotgun at Richter, and he is going to be firing this in the normal mode, so non-template. And he normally hits on a 4. He's going to get some partial cover here, making that a 5. So dice coming out, that is going to be a hit. And it's going to be a strength 4 hit. I believe he is on a toughness of 2, and he fails to wound. Moving back to the road captain, attempts to break out of combat, needing a 4. That fails. Reaction attacks also needing a 4. That fails, so he is going to attempt to fight. And he's going to get 1 hit unarmed. It's going to hit on that, needing a 3, and it is toughness 2, so needing 3s to wound. He's going to get a wound here, so save will be taken and failed on this 1. He just needed a 2 up, so an injury die coming out for P-Wagon, and he goes down with a serious injury. Gets the coup de grace. Injury die results in a 54, which is hobbled. We then go over to Argo, who attempts to break out of those bonds, and he fails once again, so he is just staying locked in place. We've then got Breaker, who activates using his first action and his second to move, getting behind cover. And with that, the turn is concluded, and we are going to go right to the end phase and take a bottle test for the Enforcers, and they are going to fail with the amount of fighters that they have out. We're going to roll up 1 for the House of Iron as well, but they are made of iron. They are sticking around for this one. Recovery rolls coming across. We do have 1 coming out for Kickstart here, not getting any assists from anyone, and he stays down with a serious injury. We have Blackjack on this side of the board, who is staying down with a serious injury as well. And we are diving right into priority rolls for turn 8. The Enforcers will be up first, followed by House Delaque and House Orlock. Not going to worry about testing for Blackjack here, but we will test for Hazard. He fails that strength check, so he is going to move D6 inches away from the Ash Gate. That'll be 4 inches. He takes an initiative check and passes, so he avoids becoming pinned. We then take a cool check for Snake Eyes, who is the lone Delaque member hanging out, and he is going to easily pass that on that 7. And then we are going to see if Wax can rally. Should have got this done in the end phase, but we just had a lot going on. And he is finally going to recover, but he is still out of ammo with that Enforcer Bolter. We've also got a cool check owed for Kickstart as he is broken as well, and he is going to pass needing an 8. So the Enforcer's leading off for turn 8. Visibility has been reduced to 3 inches. Cool checks coming in for the Enforcer's pump fails, needing a 7. And Big Chungus also, he needs an 8. He is going to fail as well. Both of them are going to take off, fleeing into the darkness. Wax takes a cool test, and he is good, so he will stick around. And acting first, Wax is going to move to the edge, and he is going to fire his stub gun, as that is the only thing that left that has ammo in it. He will be targeting Kickstart there, or Argo there, as that is all that he can see. He is going to strike him, and then he will roll up to wound, needing a 5. He is going to get a wound. Argo does have mesh armor. He fails that save and will take a wound. Snake Eyes then rolls in, getting into a position where he can fire with that short range. He does have photo goggles, and he is going to let loose with that auto gun, and he is targeting Argo, attempting to take him out of the game. And with that increased ballistic skill, he is going to land a hit. And in strength 3, toughness 4, he needs 5s in order to wound. He will not get a wound, missing both of those rapid fire shots. We do take a quick cool check here to see if he can pass for Iron Stare. He does on a 6, so all of that does happen as it should. We then have Breaker, who moves into position, and he is going to target Wax up on the building, and he is going to get a 3 with his short range bonus. And firing that auto gun, shot is going to miss, and House Orlock has the rest of the activations. Argo attempts to break the chains, and he still cannot. He's going to remain locked in place. Staying with House Orlock, we've got Hazard, who is going to use both of his actions to move. And then we have Gray, who is on the ground. He gets to his feet with 1 flesh wound, and he is going to move closer as well. Blackjack is just staying on the ground, as is Kickstart, as they are both seriously injured. And that is a quick turn 8 that is in the books. End phase bottle check coming out for the House of Iron. They are still going to be good because their Arms Master is still on the board. And we're going to roll up for recovery tests. Kickstart is going to go out of the game. And then rolling up for Blackjack, he is going to take his 3rd flesh wound. He is out of the game as well. So fighters really getting worn down here. All 3 factions are still on the board. Priority rolls coming out for turn 9. Visibility pretty much pitch black. House Orlock will be up first, followed by House Delaque and the Enforcers. Cool test being taken by Wax, and on a 5, he is going to flee the battlefield. The Enforcers are now off the board, and then we'll roll for Snake Eyes. He is going to stick around, remaining cool on a 6 up. Hazard calls a group activation from the 2 in front of him, and Breaker is going to move first, but over here being played by House Delaque as he tries to get into 3 inches of range to fire at Snake Eyes. Over here being played, taking control of his movement and pushing him back, so he's not going to be eligible to do that. It is going to be up to Gray right here, as Gray activates next, moves into position with his auto gun, and he is going to fire, needing at 3s, and that shot is going to miss. Hazard activates next, and he is going to use both of his actions to wrap around the back as they attempt to pincer Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes will activate, and he is going to swing around, attempting to take the Road Captain out of the game. And he normally hits on 3s with that auto gun. He is going to take aim and fire, and the shot is going to hit. And on toughness of 4, 5s are needed to wound. There will be no wound. And all this leading up to time running out for House Delaque. We roll for initiative on the next turn, and it looks like House Orlock will be up first. Snake Eyes is going to stick around. Bottle checks for House Orlock are just going to be fine. He is going to unleash that heavy bolter, hitting twice, and it will just need 3s to wound. That will be 2 wounds, and it was going to cut right through his armor, and injury dice will be rolled out, and Snake Eyes is going to be taken out of the game as he goes down with a serious injury, receives a flesh wound. but I think we all know that that is going to be the end of it for House Delaque in this one. Snake Eyes will be unable to move this turn other than a crawl. Meanwhile, House Orlock will be able to close the gaps on him even more with the 2 active fighters that they have left, and that is going to spell the end for House Delaque in this one. So it looks like that House Orlock is going to win this outright. What a match we had, everybody getting whittled down to the very end. And we've got the post-game report coming up in just a moment. And what a great match we just played. The Enforcers started strong, holding the line well, but began to wear down over time in a bit of a pincer maneuver between House Delaque and House Orlock. The Wrecker kickstart will take top honors in this one. Despite going out of action, he was able to take down 3 Enforcers with his hand flamer, and we certainly learned a lot about that weapon. With this win, House Orlock improves to 5-1 on the season and takes the season outright. House Delaque and the Enforcers will drop to 3-3 overall. It's clear what the House of Iron has planned as they fuel their expansion to the wastes and beyond. Let's go ahead and hand out those sweet triumphs for this one. The Dominator triumph goes to House Orlock as they control the most resources at the end of the campaign. Creditor for largest wealth goes to the Crimson Fane Corpse Grinder cult. Power Broker for highest reputation goes to the Vanguard Enforcers. Of course, the highest honor goes to the Renegades of House Orlock for finishing the season with the top record. Again, it's an absolute pleasure to bring you these battle reports. Thank you for watching our content and supporting the channel. We will be on a slight Necromunda hiatus as we paint up our Ash Waste gangs and terrain. The next campaign will be more open-ended, allowing us to go between the Ash Waste and the Hives. We'll be introducing Kaldor, Slave Ogren, Ash Waste Nomads, Gene Stealers, Squats, Vansar, and many more. As always, thank you to my 2022 Coffee Supporters Club. Your names are proudly displayed on our terrain. It's by no means necessary, and if you've watched the video this far, you've done more than enough to support us here. It's been over a year since we started this campaign. Hundreds of hours have been poured into it, from writing to playing and editing. We've had so much fun doing it. I'm really looking forward to what the future has to offer, and we will see you in the next one when that time comes. Thanks so much for watching.